Hi, I am Dr. Monali Vakharia from the Medical Affairs team of Sun Pharma, and I will be your host today for today's episode. So, Love Your Eyes is this year's theme for World Sight Day, and on this occasion, we are here to discuss about some commonly asked questions, queries, do's and don'ts on glaucoma, which is one of the most common cause of preventable blindness. And to discuss this, we have a very renowned and expert panel with us. This panel will be moderated by Dr. Harsh Kumar. It is my pleasure to welcome Dr. Harsh Kumar in this episode. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Dr. Harsh Kumar is a very renowned and senior consultant from Center for Sight, New Delhi. For further discussions and introductions of our other panel members, I would now request Dr. Harsh Kumar, sir, to take over. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Okay, thank you, Monali, and thank you, Sun Pharma, for having us here. I would just like to introduce our panel over here. Now, we have really an elite panel, but what is really elite about them is that all of them have dedicated their life to the work of glaucoma. And to begin with, there is Dr. Shushmita Kaushik. She is a professor at PGI Chandigarh, and her special interest is kids and glaucoma, but obviously she does everything, and she is a very, very good teacher and speaker. We also have Dr. Sunil Jain, who's an old-time friend from Bombay. He's running his own Iris Eye Clinic, which is also the glaucoma center over there. And he again is involved in a lot of glaucoma patient care and doing the most complicated glaucoma surgeries that you can imagine in a single hand setup. That is really, really very brave. We have Dr. Kavita, who comes from a prestigious institution, that is the Aravind Eye Hospital, and she's there in basically she's heading the unit in Pondicherry. So she is blessed to be in a beautiful place. We also have Manish Singh, the young and the most rising and star of glaucoma department in overall. And he was working at multiple places in Calcutta, but primarily now he is working in Nethralaya. And all of these people also do cataracts, etc., but their primary interest is in glaucoma. So we would like all of them to tell us now. I'll keep asking them questions specifically about what glaucoma is, but let me introduce the thing that glaucoma is indeed a very serious disease. It is the commonest cause of irreversible blindness world over. And what it is also in Hindi called Kala Motia, Kaanch Bind, and so many other things, all trying to, and we are calling it the silent thief, something which just quietly takes your sight away without your knowing. By the time a man actually realizes that he has glaucoma, 50% of the people, 90% of the people have lost 50% sight. So which is hell of a thing to have. And so it's extremely serious. And if one catches it early, it is really great. So and as far as figures are concerned, I think the easiest figure for you to understand is that every Indian above 40, 1 in 8 would either be having glaucoma or is a glaucoma suspect, somebody who can develop glaucoma. So let's jump in straight now, and let me ask Shushmita to explain to us what is glaucoma.
So glaucoma is something which we always consider the optic nerve, which is like a cable from the eye to the brain. And it's easy to understand that the eye is the camera and the brain is the CPU where your images are going to be seen. So the optic nerve essentially is damaged. So glaucoma is not equivalent to eye pressure. The eye pressure damages the optic nerve, yes, but you could have a damage at relatively lower pressure. So damage to the optic nerve in medical terms, it's called optic neuropathy due to probably pressure which is not enough for the health of that optic nerve. So remember that glaucoma is a disease of the nerve, of the optic nerve in your eye.
Go back to Manish. The patient is now finally diagnosed glaucoma,
Right.
and you want to sit down with him, and we'll talk about the treatment later. But what do's and don'ts you would tell to the patient that these are the things that you should do. These are the things you are now glaucoma. So please don't do these things. Please do the following.
Yeah, actually, sir, this counseling is a very serious matter because glaucoma patients do tend to move from one clinic to other because they need some time. They are not like a dry eye patient or maybe a simple cataract. So, and all of us are busy practitioners. If you have, say, 40, 50 glaucoma patients a day and counseling them, you will yourself get drained. It's repeating the same thing. So what I have actually done, I prepared a booklet, 2-page booklet about do's and don'ts in glaucoma, and I give it to them. We also have some videos which we have recorded with our consultants, and we have made a Facebook page for glaucoma patient. And we give this booklet and we tell them you go and see that and you read it in the OPD. So maybe when they're waiting for visual field or OCT, they read it. Once they come back, we tell them if you have any specific question, you can ask, because as we have mentioned so many points, if you actually discuss all this, they may take 10-15 minutes, which is actually really difficult. Even in my setup, Dr. Kavita, though, I think it will be too difficult.
Yeah,
Because I was
exactly.
it's,
Yes.
it's
So that
very,
is
very
right, but I
difficult.
think that is our duty, that every new patient
Yeah.
has to sit at least for 5 to 7 minutes. I know
True,
Kavita
true.
and Sushmita can actually afford to have counselors, or they can tell their juniors to sit down and talk to them. And let me be very frank, everybody prepares the pamphlets and videos and all that, but how much is being read or
Nobody,
not? So
Yeah.
what
nobody
I
reads
tell
it.
them is that this is the video to be seen, and I write down top. Next time there'll be a test. If you fail that test, you'll be out of my OPD. And that actually helps them so that they the next time really like a student, they come ready with everything. So that is an important point. So okay, now we have counseled the patient. The patient knows that he has got glaucoma, and now we have to explain the treatment. So Sunil, how will you go about for the drop part of it?
So in this, the first, I will have to specify, tell him that what subtype of a glaucoma does he have. I think that's the first step, because if he has an angle closure glaucoma, which is different from an open angle glaucoma. So the first step would be obviously to do a laser iridotomy. Okay. And if he is a patient of open angle glaucoma, then obviously it would be a medical line of treatment. In addition, there could be a secondary glaucoma. That means there is some other cause for the glaucoma, such as diabetic retinopathy or steroid induced. Then obviously we have to treat that cause simultaneously. When we come to the medical part of glaucoma, obviously we start depending on what the highest pressure the patient has recorded, how much is the nerve damage, we decide how much should be his target pressure reduction. And based on that, we start with the drops. Now, many a times patients say, sir, operation kar dalo na, drops ka jhanjat mat rakho. But obviously that is a very important point, that no, operation is not the cure for everything. It's not like cataract, because after the first step is to reduce the pressure. The pressure can be reduced either with drops or surgery. Now, patients feel that surgery hone se meri vision fir se aa jayegi, which is not the fact. So hence we tell them that pressure, once it's reduced, your damage will not progress. And then according to based on his pressure readings, we start with the basic drops. And if it's not controlled, you gradually step up the medications.
So when we were having a combined this thing, and Sushmita told some very interesting things about rubber bands. So Sushmita, can you tell a little more about the drop part?
Oh, you mean what we counsel the patients with?
Yeah, you tell the patients about the drops and how many times to put, and you were talking about the rubber bands and whatnot. Anyway, maybe it is because sometimes the patients actually cannot read the drops and this thing. So some people actually put 3 rubber bands. So this drop is to be put 3 times, like that. So there are various ways, especially because a lot of our population is a rural population.
So we usually have the golas made on the bottle. The problem is when the bottle is finished, then sometimes, I mean, sadly, it happens that a drop to be put at night is put in a carton with 3 golas, and they put it somewhere else. So it's really bad. But I'd like to also share that the patients, somehow compliance is a problem. So when we were having a triage, we used to, get the patients in to sign that I understand it's a hospital, etc., etc. So one of those triage junior residents said, Madam, when the patients come, they have brand new bottles and they fatafat tell us, "Is pe gola laga do, madam puchengi," which means they haven't put anything before they reach, but they're so scared that I'm going to ask Romy what you put. So they also do that. And another thing, sir, I found out, and I don't know how to get away with this, that they buy the drops a week before the appointment and they are progressing and the pressures seem all right. And I have no way of finding out what they did 10 days prior in the last 3 months. So probably they had high pressures. Then we go on to do an additional thing. But I've started noticing behavior now. So now the question is, how long have you not put the drops and when did you start this bottle? Because then they're not expecting that and they're sort of caught off guard, and that's how I got to know. So that's another thing. I mean, economic issues are a problem. And I've actually started, sir, doing MIGs on the moderate POAGs. And I think maybe I'm lucky because it doesn't cost, it costs the same as anything else, 1,000 rupee for a surgery. But it's helped a lot. A lot of PACGs also after the laser, if I think they need a drop or so, I just go in and do one little trabeculum on one side and it works. So surgery is an option. SLT is an option. So we started doing that more often because drops, no matter what, is a compliance issue. And I don't know how to.
Okay, so what between everybody has come out is that all right, drops are the first line after we have done a laser if it is an angle closure glaucoma.
Yes.
And in that laser, we make a small hole. Don't worry, that hole is not going to bleed you or something. It's a very small thing. And that is going to take care of few things that you will not get an attack. But drops may be essential. As it has already been told, all the drops should be linked to something, or the best thing is to put the reminder in your mobile. So the moment the ring, a specific type of ring comes, you know that all right, this drop is to be put. And the two best people is the spouse and the daughter, who can be told that if I forget, they will 100% ring you and tell you that whether you have put your drops or not. And so, and then you have to know how to do a punctal occlusion, which you just put your hand, one finger on the eye in the middle medial side so that to block. So we will just show you that, okay, you put it like this for 2 minutes after closing the eye, only one drop is to be put. Anything extra you put is going to go on the skin and spoil the skin. And also it is going to go into the nose and get absorbed in the body and cause side effects. So please put only one drop, wipe out the extra drop, close the eye for 2 minutes. Understand, please read the pamphlets which are given in the carton of the bottle. That will help you to understand that if you have any other medications which you are taking, whether you should take them with this or not. And then you can get back to your doctor and say what now should be done. Okay, now Manish, can you tell us that if we are now going to explain that patient you are not controlled on drops, when should they go for surgery? How will you explain to them?
So basically what I basically what I tell my patient that we have a lot of good eye drops available. So most of the patient we will be able to control glaucoma, so they don't need to be panicky about the disease, because depression also is very common with these glaucoma patients. So we do give them confidence. Most of you, if you follow our advice, you follow our medication, we can assure you that 90%, nothing is 100% medical science, 90% you will be able to have a good vision till the rest of your life, so that they don't get panicky and depressed. But compliance is important, and as you were mentioning, involving the family, especially daughters or spouse, and telling them that I'm giving you the responsibility that you make sure your father or your mother is taking drops also helps. But again, compliance is definitely a very, very big problem with us. If we see that the patient is on maximum medication, which is generally 2 or 3 bottles, we try not to go beyond 3 or 4 drops in a day, because then it becomes very cumbersome for the patient, and it becomes very difficult for the patient to remember so many drops. Once we see the patient is already using 3 or 4 drops in a day and still the glaucoma is progressing, and patient or the family is also saying that yes, the patient is compliant to the treatment and the pressures are also high, in these cases we do consider going for a glaucoma surgery. Sometimes if the compliance is extremely poor, patient is progressing and patient is not using medication, then our threshold for surgery is lower, we go for early surgery. In pediatric eyes, young patient, our threshold is even lower for surgeries. If you're doing a cataract surgery and the patient is already on 2 or 3 medication, then also sometimes we combine a glaucoma surgery with the cataract surgery. So this is the way we approach.
Sunil, would you like to tell us about the post-operative care that these patients would have to undergo?
So once a glaucoma surgery done, it's half the battle. The rest of the battle is follow-up, because post-operatively, a lot of things happen. For the patient's perspective, one, initially the vision is quite blurry because of the drops which we put post-operatively. Plus there'll be slight poking sensation all because many times we take stitches with these patients. So this is what the patient should remember. Patients always expects immediate vision, like in a cataract, but it's quite different from a cataract surgery. The importance is a regular follow-up, because after the surgery, we have to see the patient on day one, and then probably every 3 to 4 days or a weekly basis, and to still monitor how the pressure is behaving. Also, post-operatively, sometimes we could have slight surprises that again, the pressure could be on the higher side or could be on the lower side. So that is one thing the patient should be told prior to the surgery, because it should not come as a surprise for him. And if the pressures are rise, obviously there are different techniques of removing the stitch so that the pressure again becomes normal. And if the pressure is lower, usually it builds over a time. At the most, we might have to go in and take a stitch again. But the most important point is the visual recovery is a bit slower as compared to in a cataract surgery. So you need patience. And the important thing is regular follow-up. And once things settle down, and at the end of 1 month, usually most of the drops are totally stopped, patient can resume all his activities. The initial part of the surgery, that is post about 10 days to 15 days, we tell them to avoid lifting heavy weights and all those things. So they can resume their normal duties of going to work and all probably 2 weeks later, not too immediately. And after that, they have a regular lifestyle, I think at the end of 1 month. But lifelong follow-up is necessary in spite of surgery. It can't be that they are free of the disease. We have to keep them on follow-up depending on the pressure control every 3 to 6 monthly.
I think that is very, very critical, that they have to be told that it is not that surgery is done and you are done. Because a lot of patients never come back thinking that, oh, it's surgery is done now, everything is done, nothing is to be. So Kavita, are you admitting these patients? Because all your patients are from outside.
Yeah.
So I don't know what Kavita and Shushmita are doing about that, because so many of them are rural patients. They are not going to come back. So what are you going to do about that? What do you tell them?
So usually, like we were admitting them. You are asking whether we are doing as a inpatient procedure.
Yeah, are you admitting and then?
Yeah, usually like we do have different sort of patients coming from the paying side, coming from the nominal side, and coming from the outreach. Those come from the outreach, they stay for a day, get the surgery done, and they get discharged on the first post-operative day. And because of the COVID, we were forced to shift like at some point of time to all as daycare procedures. So now most of our glaucoma surgeries who are like from a nearby place and who are ready to come for day one follow-up, we are doing that as a daycare procedure. And as you rightly said, sir, if there are from like far off rural places, we do have the option of admitting them. So if they come today, they get admitted, get the surgery the next day, and then get discharged on the first post-operative day. But we have lot moved towards a daycare procedure.
Shushmita?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, if they are within what we call the Tri-City, they say they'll come back next morning, sure, they can go home, because frankly, after the surgery, they're otherwise healthy. They don't know what to do in the ward. So if they say that we'll come back, and if they come from far, they themselves prefer to stay. So we admit them and then surgery, and then next morning 3 days and then 2 weeks. That's our usual. 3 days for first day and then 3 days and then 2 weeks. So we give them this time frame. So some people, they don't like to stay in the hospital, but there is a lot of low cost dharamshala, this, that, and the other. They stay back in Chandigarh and then they say bye bye to the village 2 weeks later. But I call them back 4 weeks again. So they know that the first 6 weeks, I'm going to see them at least 3 to 4 times. And the other one point that Manish said, just to add, that it's very important to tell them, or Sunil, sorry, to tell them that your vision is not going to improve and you might have a loss of a half a line or so, but I'm doing this to preserve the little that you have. Then that has to be made very clear pre-operative.
Yeah, because they are very scared of the surgery. So I give them a very simple mathematics. I am very poor at mathematics. So the simple mathematics is that if the chance that the vision will go is maybe 1 to 2%. But the chance that if I don't do surgery and you will go blind is 100%. So now you can choose between 2% and 100%. If you don't tell that 100%, he's stuck on that 2%. And so, but anyway, that is for us. For the public, I want to tell everybody that please, we know it's a serious thing. Please read the consent form. Read every point that the doctor has written. What you do not understand, please check with your doctor, because every doctor wants to do the best for you people. Nobody wants to spoil the eye, but many a times these surgeries are risky. We can land up in trouble. Also, please understand very, very clearly that he has your good at his heart. It is very imperative for you. Please go only to a place where you have full faith. Yes. Because nobody is pushing you for a glaucoma surgery. We do it, like we clearly said, only when we know that if we don't do it, you are heading towards complete loss of vision and inability to do your daily work. So I must thank everybody for a wonderful, wonderful discussion and a very meaningful discussion. Just to sum it up, if anybody is above 40 years of age, anybody has a family history of glaucoma, or they are suffering from diabetes, hypertension, thyroid, or myopia, or they have had a long use of steroids, or they have had any kind of injury or surgery in the eye, they must get a 1 yearly checkup. Everybody above 40, please don't go to just opticians. I know maybe that 500 rupees extra may pinch you at times, but I can tell you a stitch in time will save 9. You will not have to cry later. Please do not use any drops without the permission of the doctor. Glaucoma is a disease which can be halted. So come early to us, choose one doctor, have faith in one doctor, because then he can actually follow you up properly. Every 3 months, get a pressure done. Every 6 monthly to 1 year, get your field test done and other tests, whatever the doctor prescribes, so that he can know whether you are becoming worse. And if you are becoming worse and he wants to do a surgery, please have faith and get it done, so we can save you, and surely you will be good for life. So please don't worry. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, panelists and our moderator, for guiding us on some commonly asked questions and related topics. It was a very simplified and systematic guidance for us. For the viewers, with the world fastly moving towards increasing use of digital devices and with the changing lifestyle, it is critical for us to be aware about. Hope these discussions would have helped you to understand its signs, symptoms, how to manage it, and what are the risk factors and what symptoms or warnings you should look for. For any further queries, you can further consult your ophthalmologist or eye doctor.